Hello, my name's Eric Anderson with Dealer News Magazine. I'm here for a very special interview with Mary McGee, who learned to ride a motorcycle on a 200cc Triumph Tiger Cub in 1957. She was one of the first women motocrossers and road racers in the United States. She started her off-road career by riding a 1962 250 Honda Scrambler and an AMA District 37 Enduro. She began riding Baja events in 1967, and in 1975 rode solo in the Baja 500. That's quite a feat. Also, in the 1970s, she competed with three men on a team in a 24-hour road race aboard a 650 Suzuki. Now that's not an Iron Man event, that's an Iron Woman. That's what Mary is. For her contributions to motorcycling, McGee has been inducted into the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame. She supports the Hall of Fame and would like you to join her. Mary, you've been instrumental in breaking down gender barriers everywhere inside what was and still remains to this day a male-dominated sport and industry. One thing we've never heard from you is what your dealership experience has been in the 1960s, 70s, and even the 1980s. How challenging was it for serious women riders at the point of purchase in those days?
Well, first of all, you mentioned dealership.
Right.
I did work for a dealership. I worked for Paul Collins at Continental Imports. Sold Hondas, Triumphs, and Bultacos.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
You're
it was great fun. I was.
No kidding. And you made commissions on those sales.
I did, and it was a struggle with the two male salespeople. And Paul just discounted them, and I was selling motorcycles like crazy.
Was it hard in the 60s, 70s, and 80s? Did things get better?
They eventually got better, yeah. In the 60s, when I was road racing, I started road racing, in 1960. And they were slightly older guys, and they were pretty much accepting. I mean, I did have to try out at Willow Springs. They wouldn't just let me race. A guy could just show up with his leathers and a helmet and a bike and race. I had to go try out at Willow Springs.
There's a hazing process.
Full leathers. And that was no problem. They said, you're good. You can race the next race. And they were slightly older, and they were more accepting of me, the road race guys. Now, when I started motocross, first of all, it was all desert guys in the motocross, because it started in first week of December 1965 at Castaic Junction. Uh-huh. And they were all desert guys. So when the kids came in to motocross, they didn't know what to do with me, because I wasn't their mother, I wasn't their sister, and I was older.
And you were a competitor.
Mostly they were faster. But yeah, I was a competitor. I was there, and I was definitely a participant. There's no doubt about it.
Well, back to the dealership for a second.
Sure.
Was it interesting being the only woman working at that dealership? Were there any challenges, or was it? Did you receive respect from the men? Did you outsell them?
I kind of outsold them. They got a little upset because guys would come in and ask for me. Uh-huh. That, they wanted to buy a motorcycle. And they did complain to Paul Collins. And he just said, deal with it. And, try to sell more motorcycles. I don't know.
What was your advantage in sales?
I rode a motorcycle. Oh, you know what else I did? Paul Collins was on Artesia Boulevard, and it was an angle. So I had a Makaha skateboard. This is 1960. When did I start working there? 62, because I knew Paul from road racing. And it was a slight downhill, so I brought my old Makaha skateboard, and I would ride it down. And everybody, they just laughed and thought it was funny.
So you're a daredevil.
Maybe, I don't know, but it was fun. And you know, the dealership wasn't busy all the time.
Right.
You know, you cleaned the bikes, you straightened up the brochures, because the guys never did any of that. And so if there was nobody there, you had to do something. There were a couple of guys that were very, very nice in the beginning. One was Mark Blackwell,
Yep.
his father and his younger brother.
Greg.
Greg. And John DeSoto.
Oh, the flying Hawaiian who could break a CZ frame in half.
He's such a great guy.
He is.
And Jim Wilson. Other than that, they kind of just left me alone.
Well,
Every once in a while, somebody would come by our pits, and they would just walk slowly and look, and then every once in a while, they would stop and talk. That wasn't always. It took a while to get used to having a female out there.